So today we're going to look at what to do when your bookkeeping is an absolute mess, when it's a total dog's breakfast. Where do you start? How do you get things sorted? Okay, so the first thing to keep in mind, and I'm going to show you a lot of stuff here that's going to make life a lot easier for you. The first thing to keep in mind is your bookkeeping's in a mess, partly because you're good at your trade and you spend all your time doing your trade. You might be a plumber, or you might be selling stuff, or you might be an electrician, and you've been doing good work and you've generated income, and you've done great. The only thing is your bookkeeping now needs to be brought up to speed because it hasn't risen to the level that you've risen to. So the first thing is we need to get rid of this idea that, someone's a bad person because their bookkeeping's not up to date. Well, just fix it. It's fine, okay? So it's not a moral issue. It's just a practical issue. Let's fix these books. So generally there'll be 3 reasons why your bookkeeping's broken. Now the first one could be, actually 4. One is you could be brand new to your trade. You've never done this before. No worries, a bookkeeper's going to help you out with that. But the general 3 reasons are going to be, firstly, your last bookkeeper was terrible. I remember I was in a business, oh my goodness, must have been 10 or 12 years ago. We had a bookkeeper who charged us a lot but did nothing. I had no idea. I think she used to file things in folders or something and charge the earth for it. She was the worst bookkeeper ever. And sometimes people will come to us and say, I need some help. Here's what my bookkeeper's done. And you'll just be like, oh my goodness, what were they thinking? So that can be a reason. If that's a problem, well, you're obviously smart enough to know that you need a bookkeeper. So then it's just a matter of getting a bookkeeper who's decent. Not hard. The second reason would be, look, your wife's sick of doing the bookkeeping. So you've been doing your own sort of accounting, your own sort of books, hoping for the best, just trying to get through. It's sort of survival mode, like dog paddling after the Titanic sinking. And that's fine. We all start there. But there comes a point where your wife's like, I'm sick of this. I did not marry you so I could do your bookkeeping. Okay, like that's crazy. And she's right. But the thing is, you're like, well, hold on. If we want to eat, we need to get those invoices out. And she's like, hey, if you want to stay married, you need to get a bookkeeper. So there's a point at which you cross from your wife being okay with doing the bookkeeping to your wife's not okay with it. And that point was probably a year ago, let's be honest. But set your wife free from doing the bookkeeping, okay? Also, your wife it probably takes your wife this much time to achieve whatever she achieves in the bookkeeping. Joel or I could probably do it in that much time. So it doesn't actually cost that much to get that work off her because she's doing her best, but let's be honest, she hasn't really done this before for a lot of other businesses. So set your wife free, okay? So the 2 reasons so far of, how did our books get in this mess? Well, apart from one, if someone's brand new, would be the previous bookkeeper was terrible, or your wife has been the bookkeeper and she's been doing her best, but my goodness, she doesn't deserve more of that. And then the last one is, it's like, well, nobody's been doing the bookkeeping. And this one's actually a pretty funny one because it's so common. And it's, if this is you, this is not just you. It's you and half your mates, half your friends who just haven't told you this. It's like, so many people's idea of bookkeeping is to get the receipts that they get in their wallet and to just put them in a shoebox or somewhere, and then at the end of the financial year, take it to the accountant. It's like, well, firstly, you missed a heap of receipts that were emailed to you or whatever, and therefore you don't get to claim those deductions, and then that's damn expensive because you're missing out on money you should have saved on tax, so you're paying more in tax. But as well as that, your accountant looks at all these receipts and goes, what, you didn't have a bookkeeper sort this out? A bookkeeper could have sorted this out for you so cheaply, and now you're going to be paying accountants' rates, which could be like $200 or $300 an hour, to do what a bookkeeper could have done so much more cheaply. So when no one's been doing the bookkeeping, you cost yourself more at the accountant, you miss out on heaps of tax deductions because you haven't really kept track of your receipts. And then not just that, all your invoicing will be terrible. You'll have people who owe you money who haven't paid you because they haven't been given an invoice, or they've been given a not quite accurate invoice, or people who owed you money 3 months ago still haven't paid you, and the longer time goes on, the less likely they are to pay you. So, we all start with this situation in the early days of, no one's really doing my bookkeeping, I'm just hoping for the best, and that's appropriate, but there comes a point where you're way past that time, and a lot of the tradies that I work for are in that point. So at that point, you don't like go, oh no, it's too hard. It's not too hard. You just take what you've got, you give it to a good bookkeeper, someone who's been there, done that. Okay, so I don't know. It's not rocket science. You can tell when someone knows their craft and when they don't. And you just pay them whatever it costs to get your books in order. And they may have to charge you for 10 hours, 20 hours. They may charge you for it. If you've got a big business, they could be charging you enormous amounts of money but however much they charge you is way less than what the accountant is going to charge you. And sooner or later, it's either your accountant or it's your bookkeeper who's going to do it, because that's life. So those are the reasons why we get really, really stuck. And how do you know when it's time to get some bookkeeping help? Well, obviously, if you're making money from a business and you don't have bookkeeping help, there's something amiss there. It's like, bottom line is, it's either your wife's upset, your kids forgot who you are, your accountant's overcharging you, your customers aren't paying you, or the taxman's about to give you a phone call and you don't want that. So long story short, no more feeling the need to feel bad about your books, no more feeling the need to be frustrated about it, because just fix the problem. Okay, if you had a tool that was broken, you'd replace it. If you had a vehicle that was broken, you get it fixed. If your bookkeeping's broken, we'll get it fixed. You know, give it to someone who can do that. And if we can be helpful to you, you can see what our website is there on the screen, actualbookkeeping.com.au. We are an example of really good bookkeepers, but honestly, just don't hold back. Get something happening soon, because the longer you leave your bookkeeping, the more of a mess it'll be, and the harder it is to untangle, and the more likely it is you're going to get a phone call from the ATO. All right, good luck on your quest. Let us know if we can help.